Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Beautiful and Bothered with me, Johnny Ross, and Kevin.
Hello.
How you doing?
Very good. How you doing, girl?
Good. So I went to the Rare Beauty event.
Oh my God, I can't wait to hear all about this.
Met Selena Gomez.
What was that like meeting her?
So it's very weird. I feel like I have a unique view of meeting famous people. I don't love meeting famous people. Like, I feel like I don't get as excited about it as other people do because I don't like exchanges. Like, people, when they meet famous people and they're like sobbing, or they can tell that the famous person is like uncomfortable and they're still all about it. I don't love meeting famous people because I feel like I don't enjoy being in exchanges with someone where I know the person doesn't want to meet you.
Interesting. Okay.
Not that they're like being mean or anything.
No,
yeah, but like they meet so many
people. Of here.
Yeah, they meet so many people. The exchange is 99% for you and 1% for them. So it's not like a necessity for me.
Yeah, they're not walking away with like, that changed my life.
Exactly.
Meeting, like,
so that one-sided exchange for me is not the most exciting thing. And I also feel like a lot of the celebrities I enjoy them and I'm a fan of them for the art they create, the medium. I love Selena Gomez because I love her on Only Murders in the Building. I love her music. I'm not friends with her. You know what I mean? Like,
you're not going to have that personal moment with her where she's going to be like asking
hey,
you
girl,
questions.
yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I get more excited to see a friend I haven't seen in a while than I do meeting a celebrity. A lot of people at the event were saying, they were like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Like, what am I going to do? And I'm like, I'm not nervous because she's not going to hit me. That was that. I wasn't really nervous at all. And I will say, and I have to give a lot of credit to the Rare Beauty team. Obviously, they didn't do this on purpose because they don't know this, but it had to be one of my favorite groups of content creators I've ever seen at an event. I've been following a boy in beauty. His name's Brandon. He is incredible. He was one of my first inspirations when I started doing this like 2 years ago, because he was one of the first people I really saw doing high definition HD transitions and artsy and with the music. And he was so inspiring to me. And I've been following him for like 2.5 years now, and he's from Australia. He was there. They flew him in. Another creator, her name's Samantha, Beauty Kills MUA on social media. She's from Las Vegas. We've talked forever and like texted each other, and she's been so supportive back and forth, like development of friendship. They flew her in. So I was walking into this event knowing I knew 10 people. Even Trevor Barrett was there. There was just so many people that I was so excited to meet. And it almost felt like it was like this weird little high school reunion of all these people I've either met before or I've admired from afar. So it was such a good vibe in that regard. I was honestly more excited about that. But yeah, meeting Selena. So I posted, getting ready for it, that I was going to have her sign the back of the leather jacket. Yes. Yeah. I will say, girlfriend was tired.
Okay.
She was very like, and God only knows like how busy she was. She's Selena Gomez. So what I thought was really cool too that they did was everybody that flew in from far away, they got to go to the venue at like 4:00, 2 hours before everybody else, and take the time to film a cute little video with her. And I appreciated that. I know Brandon from Australia flew 29 hours. So I'm like, good for them for giving those people that flew a long time a little extra time.
Yeah, like you took a whole day to come here.
My God.
You might as well make it worth your while.
Exactly. Yeah. So I thought that was really sweet. But then as far as like the rest of us, the local people, we got there at 6 and we all had allotted times we were going to meet her. And it was very almost informal. It's not like she had a specific room she was in. She was kind of just up against a big poster of the launch because it was for the new lip oils. We just went up and met her one by one, but you could tell by the time she started meeting people at like 6, my time was like 7:30. Girlfriend needed to go to bed. Yeah. So I didn't want to take up any more of her time. And even on the line, the person for Rare Beauty was like, she's just doing quick photos and selfies, basically saying, don't fucking bother her.
Yeah. Don't ask her anything personal that'll take more than 30 seconds.
Exactly. So I just went up there. I was like, you look incredible. I love you on Only Murders in the Building. Your brand is amazing. Keep killing it. Thank you so much. Yeah. I just didn't want to take up a lot of her time.
Yeah. Short, sweet, to the point. Don't tell her a traumatic story.
Yes.
Unload your trauma.
Crying. Yeah, you saved my life. And she's like falling asleep while I'm talking to her. Exactly. But it was funny. I joke around too. I never understood Starstruck until I met Sean Hayes from Will & Grace. He was my idol growing up. I mean, I just talked about it on the Coco Peru podcast. Will & Grace was my only exposure to gay people when I was in my early teens. And I used to bribe my sisters to drive me to Saturday Matinee, or FYE, to buy the box sets of Will & Grace. And I would watch all 24 episodes in a day into the wee hours of the morning. So I was obsessed with him. And my mom, sister, and I went to go see him in Promises on Broadway. We went to the stage door and I had to be maybe 15. And I was
Wow.
at the stage door, and Molly Shannon was in it with him, and Kristen Chenoweth.
And you were like pushing them out of the way.
Literally.
To get to him. Yeah.
So Molly Shannon came up to me and she was to die for. Kristen Chenoweth came out, which she literally is 3 foot tall. That was like shocking to see her in person. She is so small. But Sean Hayes came out and he walked up to me and I had my playbill in my hands. He's in front of me. Here's my moment to like say everything I ever wanted to say to him. I'm staring at him, mouth agape, literally just like, and God. I'm not saying anything. And he's looking at me like something's wrong with me. And
is this his Make-A-Wish?
Literally.
And I'm like, oh, God.
Literally.
Yeah.
And I can tell my sister's like holding my shoulders and my mom's behind her. After the fact, I could feel my sister and my mom being like,
say something.
Yeah, like waiting for me to say something. And my sister like jumped in and saved me and was like, you're his idol. And Sean Hayes was so sweet. He laughed in a way of like, I can tell. He couldn't have been nicer. Yeah,
that's
about
so
that.
Cute.
I know. And he's starting in April a new play on Broadway called Goodnight Oscar. And I really want to go see it. And I want to go to the stage door again and try to meet him and like tell him this.
Be like when I was 15.
I blew it. Yeah. So that was the only time I was like ever starstruck. And then I don't even know if I've really met any other celebrities. I met Tan France from Queer Eye.
Oh, okay.
He was like so sweet. Me and my fiance met him.
But not something you were like starstruck.
No.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too about meeting celebrities, in my opinion. It's very transactional. They're working.
Yeah.
They're doing exactly. So I just went to another event last night, a Murad event, and I was talking to other influencers and they were talking about going to the Offset event with Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, and I'll say though, so they were telling me that Scarlett Johansson couldn't have been sweeter. Scarlett Johansson is a talker, and they weren't blaming Scarlett, they were almost blaming the other influencers. Some influencers were like talking to her for like half hour. And Scarlett won't be like, okay, like that. Yeah, because she's a talker and whatever. So I was like, okay, that's really sweet. Especially Scarlett fucking Johansson. Not that Selena Gomez is Selena Gomez. That's crazy too. But I don't know. Maybe her being younger and like in this world of influencers where Scarlett Johansson to me is a movie star.
Yeah, like, okay, you got 30 seconds to talk to me and let's wrap this up.
Exactly.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. So they were saying she was like amazing. Someone did tell me of someone they did meet from another beauty brand that was standing there, like didn't want to touch anybody, another celebrity.
I mean, elephant in the room, they always say like, don't meet your heroes. And you hear this about RuPaul all the time.
Oh, I know.
That people always say like, it's the most awkward. I need you to be 6 feet away from me at all times.
Like the Oprah thing. Like she grabs hands so she doesn't have to touch, like hug them. Yeah.
That to me is almost disappointing too, because you go into something like meeting your hero. Like imagine if Sean Hayes was like,
an asshole.
Don't come near me.
Yes.
Like, I don't care.
Well, and you know what? It was interesting because it sparked a conversation between us yesterday where we were saying that, you know what, honestly, if I am meeting RuPaul in the wild or I'm meeting another celebrity in the wild, I think it depends. Because I remember I watched a Nick Kroll stand-up recently and he was saying, he's like, you know, I love meeting people. He's like, but, you know, read the room. If I'm in the airport with my son, maybe I don't want you to come up and ask me to do the hormone monster voice. Like, so he's like, you know, know the time and place.
Right.
And even if you meet RuPaul, he's in his personal life. Where when you're going to an event with a celebrity, especially in this exact case,
they know what they're signing up for.
We were also saying that when you go to these events and you have influencers coming to your event and you're going to be standoffish, like the one this girl told me.
Can you say who it was? Or no?
Jessica Alba. Yeah. It was like the influencer was telling me she was very like, as she was meeting people, she was just taking pictures with them, like arms like this, like not touching anybody, not whatever.
Like awkward 6th grade girl, like
totally.
I don't want to.
And I was almost even saying Gwyneth Paltrow energy of like, don't touch me, like pores.
I love that.
Yes, that right. She gives off that vibe. But we were saying, we're like, it's very different in this setting because I get it that you're inviting, you know, influencers to these events. And yes, it's beautiful. Your company has spent a lot of money flying people in, hosting the event. You're paying a pretty penny and you're meeting people. But also at the end of the day, you're inviting influencers to these events because you want us to sell your shit.
You're now going to be promoting this product for the next 6 months.
Exactly.
Wearing it, using it, and you want to have a positive image to the brand. So when you have this weird, awkward meet and greet, you're kind of like, well, screw that. I'm not promoting your products.
And it's sad because it's like, that shouldn't be the influence. And I'm the kind of person, if I go to one of these events and the celebrity that owns the brand is Jessica Alba-y, if I really like it, I'll still talk about it. But it's just shocking to me. Virtually, you're inviting a group of salesmen to your event to sell your shit and you're not going to be personable. And you want us to then go in this oversaturated market and bring your stuff to the top of our list. And
paint you in this like positive light that you're like this great person, you have this great brand, but yeah, you're not painting yourself in a great image when you're awkward at the meet and greet photo. You're like, I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to be here. I don't even care who you are.
Yeah. So that's why I give Selena a lot of credit, because you could tell she was exhausted and she met every single person. So it was, even though, you know, the exchange was very limited because I just didn't want to take up a lot of her time. She was out there meeting every single person. So that was really cool. And then, the event was nice. It was more of like a cocktail hour-y thing.
And you were saying too that there was a lot of other influencers there that you wanted to meet.
Yes.
So were there any people that you met from those people that you were like, oh, this isn't how I would have painted you in my head?
Okay. So Brandon was incredible. He was by Brandon on social media, is his handle. He was incredible. We got along like a house on fire. He was staying in the city a couple days after that. So the event was last Wednesday and we got together on Friday and spent the entire day together in the city. I showed him all around the city. He was incredible. Trevor, I've spoken to before. I have him on the podcast. He'll be on an upcoming episode. So we met in that regard. He's so sweet. I didn't realize how tall Trevor was. Trevor Barrett. He's like your height.
Really?
I was shocked. I was like, oh my God. Like I think he was like 6. He had to be 6'3", 6'4".
Wow.
Yeah. There really wasn't anybody that I was excited to meet. That was disappointing.
Yeah. You're like, this is not your personality.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there was somebody there that I don't enjoy, that I think doesn't enjoy me either. Cause I made a video about her comedically and I made sure to structure the whole thing where she wasn't the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
You know who it is.
Yep.
When I posted it,
She was there. Did she say anything to you?
We caught each other's eye and just didn't even, just moved on. And I'll say, like, when I posted the video, I made sure it wasn't at her expense. The character I was playing was the butt of the joke, and she happened to just be the inspiration. And she unfollowed me on everything after that. So, and it was funny because other influencers were like commenting, big people like Michaela and Rose and Ben were like in the comments saying to me, oh my God, do me next. Like they loved it. They understood the joke. Right. She never even acknowledged I did it and just unfollowed me on everything. And I already had my suspicions about her anyway. So that was the only one I was like,
well, and that's something I was going to ask you too, even about meeting people and involving yourself with other people and who you associate with in this industry, because it's so different for me. I'm like in the beauty industry, but in a very different realm.
Yes.
Where you're in this, where you have these connections with people. How do you deal with, or how do you like maneuver going through meeting people and then involving people in your, I'm going to say your life and like your career?
Yeah.
What if something kind of starts to go
the Jeffrey and Manny of it all?
Dramageddon.
Exactly.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you ever worry about that either?
It depends on how you involve yourself. Even if you look at the Dramageddon of it all, you know, you take Jeffrey as the epicenter of the nuclear bomb of that whole situation. You had someone like Manny that was just friends with him, but Manny never was orchestrating things with him or was like also going to the underground lair and causing the things he was causing. So when the drama came out, I think with Dramageddon, like Manny definitely got a lot of the blowback of it. But to a certain extent, it didn't ruin Manny's reputation because he hadn't aligned himself with Jeffrey's toxicity that Jeffrey was doing at that exact moment. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you could argue, okay, but that's the company you keep. So there's that aspect. But then there's the aspect of when Jeffrey did the whole thing with James, you found out after the fact that Tati knew they were going to do this, allegedly involved in like, we're going to go after him or whatever the drama was. So Tati got more of a brunt of it because she was also twirling the mustache with him in that way, where Manny was just collateral damage. Okay, so the elephant in the room, like the Michaela of it all. I am friendly with Michaela because Michaela was so supportive of me when I had like 200,000 followers, and she followed me, and I was stunned because at the time was huge. She had like, 11 million, 12 million. And I was just so surprised that the biggest TikTok beauty person was following me when I had 200,000 followers. And I think a lot of it was because she worked at Ulta and she loved my Sephora skits and related to it. I've said it before, but my very first brand event, and it wasn't even like an event, it was when she did the Glow Recipe dinner.
The dinner,
yeah. And we talked about it on my podcast with Michaela. She invited me to that dinner. She was doing a meet and greet and then wanted to have an intimate dinner and invited like 6 people. And I was one of those 6 people. And I was just like, what? So my first time meeting another influencer influencer was the biggest beauty TikTok person at the time.
At the most intimate dinner of
at a table. Literally, there was like maybe 10 people around the table. And that included the Glow Recipe founders, her fiance. It was so intimate. Any interaction I've had with her has just been so lovely. And she has always been so kind to me. And I even posted at the Selena thing, I posted a picture of me, her, and Trevor. And I had someone in my Instagram DMs being like, I'm unfollowing you because you have a picture with Michaela.
See yourself out.
That's what I said. I was like, bye. Like, or I didn't even respond.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because it's like people who kind of have that perspective of influencers. They're so maybe critical of people that are in their orbit. I kind of propose it in the sense of like, what if your reputation was judged by the actions of your friends on a public scale? Anyone who feels this way, let's go into your life and see what your friend's doing on the weekend. Let's have a hidden camera follow your friends for a week and then put it on the internet and then all of a sudden judge your character based on it. Do I agree with things that she's done or things that have happened? And a lot of it is alleged. It's all very ambiguous. I'm not in the room with her. I don't know the truth. I'm not keeping secrets for her. I don't know what she does. And even my friends in real life, would I have my friends done things that I maybe disagree with, or I'm like, oh, I wish they handled that better? Of course. So am I going to have anyone from my influencer friends to my real friends be my like moral judge when I die? No. Well, so it's so odd in that regard.
Yeah, you're basing your relationship with her on the experiences you've had with her, your personal relationship. She isn't texting you being this monster. So
yes.
And I said this to you the other day too. I think it's so funny, like cancel culture and all of that too, that I swear to you, I feel like people look to like seek out the next like person to cancel. And I said this to you, I'm like, you can't put this on a job resume. You're like, oh, I got this person canceled. I was the one that sparked that. I just feel like the beauty industry is like, you will get canceled immediately for like almost nothing.
And that's the thing. And I'm not talking about any of the bigger things. I'm not talking about questionable, whatever the case is. Like I said, I'm not in the room with her. I don't know what happened. I don't know what the motivation is, but it's just interesting to me. And let's pretend this wasn't Michaela. Let's pretend this was somebody else. It's just so interesting to me, almost like the lack of empathy or understanding of like where somebody is or like what they're going through or how old they are. Cause I was on TikTok the other day and I came across someone just posted a video of her. It had to be almost like 2.5 years ago or something. She was very young and it was like basically a video where she was saying, I don't want to do this anymore. Her voice was different. And that was clearly the point of the video. Again, someone trying to
expose her.
Someone trying to imply her accent was fake. And here's the deal. I've met Michaela in person now, and that is her accent. Her voice is not fake. Does her accent get stronger when she's making videos? Yes. When she's excited. My entire family's from Staten Island. And when I get together with my family, all of our New York-isms double. When you're excited and you're around other people, or even me, look at me with Italian hands going nuts.
The video of Selena and
like that stuff. Yeah, that stuff amps up because it's your personality. But I will say, obviously, in this video, her accent, it was as though it was intentionally being restrained.
Oh,
yes, like she was hiding it. And I'm watching it and I'm saying to myself, what the fuck? This girl got insanely famous at 21 years old. And the point of this video was that she was getting mauled all about her voice. Does it surprise you that a 21-year-old is not in the mood to get bullied? So she maybe was hiding her accent because she didn't want to get made fun of for it on a day. Like, what? Think about what you were like at 21. Think about the things you did to people please other people. Now have 10 million people
judge you.
What do you think you would have done at 21? Right. And that's what I mean. It's not even about Michaela. It's even normal people who are on social media and how they maybe modify themselves or people please. Not to say it's right. And I think I love France. Did you see France just came out where you have to disclose if you're using filters and you retouch?
Can you fucking
love
believe that? That is actually amazing.
Arousing.
I mean, it goes back to the ads in America too, with like the whole, I mean, not to keep beating a dead horse here, but when you use false lashes in a mascara ad, it has to say, like, you have to disclose there are laws here.
Yeah.
I would
love that to happen here. Love. I know. Obviously, we need to change beauty standards and stop idolizing the Kardashians, photoshopping themselves to look inhuman and stuff, because that's what causes this insecurity. But it's the people that are attacking everybody on a daily basis and even attacking regular teenagers and regular kids and regular people on the internet that cause this need for people to feel like they do need to hide the things that are getting them judged. And to answer your question, which I feel like I haven't, as far as how I navigate it, it's interesting. If anybody I ever made friends with on social media did something that was concrete, proven, and admitted that was something I was just like, ugh, I wouldn't even want to be friends with that person if you did it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or in my real life, I would not be friends with them anymore. So yeah, there is a little bit of a navigation, and a lot of it too is when you're at these beauty events. It's annoying that you have to kind of be careful what you say to people and who you can be honest, like totally honest with, because you never know who someone's going to go and like say something to. So I would say at this point, I've developed a small group. Their names are Christy and Frederick, both beauty people. We're like at every event I go to, because they're in the city, we're like this, and we can all be very honest with each other and, you know, really give the tea. And we have trust built up, but they're probably my closest friends in the beauty world. And you just have to, I don't know, it's like any friend. It's like a coworker. What can I say with my coworker in a 9-to-5 office? And what if they turn around and tell the boss? You know, it's the same as anything else, but I don't overthink it, because I know my own character. I'm a good judge of character and vibe. And I know I wouldn't put too much of my own credibility or morality in someone else's basket that it would ever be compromised in general. So you just have to be smart about it. But again, that's because I'm 30. So let's give a little grace to the 19, 20, 21-year-olds doing this, because I would have been a fucking mess.
And they get thrown into the limelight, the fame of it all. And
could you imagine, like, if this had happened to me when I was 21, I don't know what I would have done.
Or how you would have acted.
Exactly. The stupid shit I would have said. No, not at all.
Yeah. So going back to the point before when we were talking about the video that you made, that of the person that shall not be named.
Yes.
And just creating content overall. And I've always wondered this too, when you make the Sephora videos. And you have said too that you're very cautious about what you're saying, who it's going to offend. And you always have that in the back of your mind. When you're making these videos, what is that process like of checking off all those boxes?
Oh my God. So when I started even doing the Sephora skits, like the Barbara videos, I was very conscious of the fact that I was playing a woman. And the only reason I even really did it was because I knew that this woman was rooted in truth. It was real experiences that happened to me. Any character I do play that isn't rooted in truth, it's a completely fictional character, like Miranda in the Mac videos. Yeah. She's the victim. She's a sweet girl that is like the victim.
Yeah.
And the bully in that scenario is the gay guy that works at Mac. So I, as a gay guy, I feel comfortable playing a villain gay character because I know that guy. Like, I've seen that. I've met that person, and it's less of a blurred line. But with Barbara, I would get comments on YouTube, especially all the time. People would watch my Sephora skits and call me a misogynist. And I'm like, this woman is based in true experience. Any Sephora skit I've made of Barbara, there is at least 2 or 3 lines, or the entire scenario is based on a real interaction. So if you have a problem with the way I'm portraying this woman, that woman is real. So take it up with women that act that way.
Right.
Or anybody that acts that way.
Right.
So dial that down. And like I said, I would never play a woman, a completely fictional woman, and just paint her as this villain. The only reason I even did that was because this was rooted in truth.
And like, it was our daily lives.
Exactly. Yeah. So I get those comments, but I don't even care about them. Whatever. You want to be mad, be mad. My fiance was telling me to do the straight guy videos for a while. It took me almost a year to do them. I was really working on how to construct it. I don't even love the cheap comedy of when straight guys are just portrayed as morons. Like when you get the laundry commercial where he's like, what's a washing machine? Yeah. And the woman's like, idiot. Like that is so the pendulum swing in the opposite direction of not being funny. So when I started making those videos, it took me a while to really be able to construct it in a way where the straight guy's ignorance to the beauty world wasn't the butt of the joke, that he wasn't just this caveman moron. I really wanted to get the point across that it was the Sephora worker and a intelligent straight man starting to take an interest in skincare or beauty and being so overwhelmed. The joke was the fish out of water element. It would be equivalent if I made a skit of generalizing a gay guy in Home Depot. It wasn't that the gay guy's a moron. It's that he's never maybe been interested or exposed to it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to construct it in that way where there was an innocence about the straight guy. And lo and behold, that was exactly the reception where they were like, oh my God, he's adorably lost. And that was the point.
Which
and
used to happen.
The very first straight guy video I did, if you go back, watch the very first part 1, where I say like, don't put it on like a monkey because he was like slapping his face. Part 1 of Straight Guy Shopping at Sephora is a verbatim experience I had with Straight Guy. That's what inspired the whole thing. Literally, he was slapping it on his face. So that's what I'm saying. It was like, I always try to root it in truth. You know, your creative liberties can't be scrutinized in a way. And if they are, I think it needs to be very intelligent. And then with the video I'm talking about that she unfollowed me, again, with that one, the whole point of it was that the character's lack of skill and not knowing what to do was the joke, not the video she was following or something. And I think that's why I just got an editor for my long form beauty and editor for the podcast. Shout out to Mario. I will always do everything when it comes to my comedy skits, because there have been times where in editing them, I'm like, oh, okay, that isn't reading how I thought it was going to read. Editing has so much to do with storytelling. So I will always do everything when it comes to the skits because it gives me complete control to kind of filter that
And if
stuff.
something does come across the wrong way or something might sound offensive, you have that moment, that second chance to be like, okay, this isn't reading well.
Exactly.
That literally sounds awful. Let me go back, edit it.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I've had moments, where I'm watching it back and I'm like, okay, that's not landing the way I wanted it to, or it could be construed in a different way, or it didn't get the point across. And so it gives me that chance to really tell the exact story and hit the comedic point I'm trying to make. And I think that's difficult when you're trying to make comedy that is trying to say something. And that was the whole point of the Barbara, was to point out these homophobic people we dealt with. And the straight guy skit was to point out why are straight guys so uncomfortable. And you know the irony of it, and no matter what you do, people are still going to be stupid with it, because the amount of people that, you know, on the straight guy videos always comment like, oh, when is he going to come out? They should get together. They don't even realize like, you're the reason I'm making these videos. Like the whole point of this video is to point out that straight guys shouldn't be this uncomfortable, but they're only this uncomfortable because if they do take an interest in beauty, you accuse them of being gay. So here's a video pointing this out. And on that video, you're still accusing them of being gay. You're the problem. People are going to view things the way they're going to view it. And once it's released into the wild, it's up to the people. It
is really crazy to think about too, that they don't realize how much work is going into it and that the message behind it too, and people can take it the wrong way. So.
I know.
So I have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
So what advice would you give to someone who's interested in becoming a makeup influencer, not just a makeup artist, but is concerned about the competitive nature of this industry, being not just the beauty industry, but specifically being an influencer, being that it is so, I would say, competitive.
Okay, well, because of the competitiveness, that's why I started doing the comedy skits. Because if I had just done my beauty content, I don't think I would have gotten the platform I did, because it just is like shouting into a void at this point. So the whole reason I made the comedy skits was because I knew it had much higher potential of going viral, but it was like a Trojan horse where I was wearing makeup in half the video that people literally would start to comment being like, oh my God, how'd you do your eyeshadow? How'd you do this? How'd you do that? Every day in between the comedy videos, I posted the makeup tutorial breaking it down. So it was like people were coming for the comedy and staying for the makeup. So that was my strategy. So that right there is the advice that I think you have to, at this point, you have to infuse something that nobody else is doing. If you're doing exactly what everybody else is doing, you know, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. If you're doing what every other beauty influencer is doing and you're just waiting for your videos to go viral, like,
you're going to go insane.
Yeah, you might happen, but the chances are low. And then I would say too, as far as quote unquote being an influencer, like what people think it is, because I'm somebody that I hate the sales aspect of it. Like I just see these people day in and day out on my feed that every video starts with products and what you need. And oh my God, this thing came out. And it's just, it depends on how you skew it and how you frame it, because I think, to me, someone like a Rosen Ben on TikTok and Instagram, like she is so fantastic at, even if something's a brand new product that she wants to try, she's not leading with, oh my God, you need this, or just saying like, this is new. So that's the sole excitement. So let's all get in our car together and run out and buy it. It's always education focused. And if it happens to be great, she's like, the intention of the video is just showing you how to use it.
Yeah, the
and
features, benefits, and if people are interested, they're naturally
it's
going to be this organic, like, and now I want to see more.
And that's why I do the education stuff or how to use stuff, because it's like, this is new. I'm trying it because this is my job and I am a psycho that likes everything that comes out new. But if I'm trying a new cream blush and the point of the video is how to put cream blush over powder foundation, if you have another cream blush, it'll work fine. So I'm not telling you need this cream blush.
You need that exact thing. You're not saying like, okay, go out and get this and use this affiliate code. You're not doing... Yeah, your videos never come off like sales pitchy too.
Yeah.
So oh my God.
I didn't even like doing that when I was at Sephora. Like we said on the one podcast, half the time I would tell people, go to fucking CVS.
Go get these brushes.
I would tell them what was better.
Get the setting powder. Yes. Buy the expensive foundation, but then go spend $5.99 on NYX powder.
Oh my God. If they ever heard me, there was like a million times I should have been fired at Sephora for like selling stuff at the drugstore. But yeah, so I was just never interested in that. And I don't think people realize when you get in this industry how much more business oriented it is. You need to become a photographer and a videographer and an editor and a business person. You're negotiating your deals if you don't have a manager, or you need to understand contracts and then completely go back to the drawing board at some point and reevaluate how much you want to be that salesman type person to bring in the deals, how much you don't want to do and turn down to stay true to the integrity, but then you're not making money. And there's so many things. I remember even a while ago, I got invited to an IT Cosmetics event and I did like a get ready with me thing. And I talked about it so many times. I love the Confidence in a Cream moisturizer. I've talked to you about it.
Yep.
I used it in the bathroom. And then because that was probably the second event I ever got invited to, I am not a pro at like get ready with me videos. So I did my moisturizer with my IT Cosmetics. And then when I was getting ready for the event, I was just like doing my makeup or whatever and kind of talking about the event. And everybody in my comments, not everybody, some people were like, LOL, you not using any IT Cosmetics. And I'm like, that's not who I am. Just because I'm going to an IT Cosmetics event doesn't mean I am now a salesperson for IT Cosmetics. And if the brand wants me to be a salesperson for IT Cosmetics because they're inviting me to an event to show me a new product, I don't want to go to that event.
Yeah, like exactly. It's not all about the money.
No. And
I don't understand.
I'm sorry.
Like,
and at that time, when I was getting ready for that event, there was no IT Cosmetics makeup that I was loving in my current routine, so I didn't use it.
Well, and that's the thing, too, that it goes back to, okay, I'm going to watch this, and I'm going to watch this person earnestly get ready. And if someone's following you, and then one week you're saying, oh, no, these are my favorites, and then you're going to this IT Cosmetics event, and you're like, these are my absolute favorites, die-hard favorites. I'm like, because it's all about the money.
And you know what's funny to me? The same people that are in comment sections of people doing Get Ready With Me's not using the makeup, you're also the ones complaining that influencers are
not being genuine,
that brands are catering to influencers instead of the consumers. So the brands should be catering to the consumers. It should almost be the hierarchy of the consumers should be dictating what they want, what the tone is, what the feel is, what the integrity, what the morality is. The influencers, in my opinion, should just be translators for the consumers as a go-between the brands. I view being a content creator as a liaison for what my followers want, that I get to tell the brands that. If a brand invites me to an event and I throw all my makeup away, other than the makeup for this event, and start painting that this is the only makeup I use, you're going to complain about that too. And then all of a sudden I'm not being genuine because of, So you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like you don't understand the people that say those things. It's very odd to me that they don't realize the cyclical nature of that, exactly. You're going to complain about influencers that kiss brands' asses, but then you're pointing out that someone, when they're getting invited to a Harry Styles concert with IT Cosmetics, that I'm not throwing all my makeup away and using IT Cosmetics.
It just doesn't make sense.
Personally, I've always been an IT Cosmetics skincare person. I never really was IT Cosmetics makeup person, and except for that new concealer, which I'll talk about soon.
And but Glow. Well, maybe not for you, Nude Glow.
Exactly. But I love the Nude Glow on when I did makeup on people. The amount of times I used the CC cream on mature skin, whatever, but there's nothing that was right for me at that time.
Right.
So I had already talked about the Confidence in a Cream, God only knows how many times before that event. the whole point of that event, which I didn't even realize, was that the It Cosmetics was like reformulated and it was like double as potent, which got me aroused when I came to the event. And lo and behold, I came home and I was like, guys, this moisturizer that I've loved forever is even stronger. So I talked about that aspect, but it's just very weird. Yeah, it's so peculiar. And those are the things I don't think people realize when you get into this or you want to get into this. It's, you have to almost ask yourself, like, why am I getting into this? And believe it or not, it can ruin it for you. Because even me, I mean, you guys might have noticed, like, I really haven't posted an original comedy video or even a lot of makeup stuff in like a little over a month because I needed to take a break from it. How much work the podcast was getting this up and running, the makeup aspect, doing all of this by myself for so long. It was exhausting. I was so burnt out. The thought of sitting down for the past month and a half and putting makeup on myself and doing all that, whatever, it seemed so exhausting. It was so not fun. And I'm literally going to start filming, which stay tuned. I have comedy skits written. I have the makeup stuff ready to go, but I needed to take time. You have to be wary about getting actually the career you love your number one thing, because it can really ruin it for you because there's so many other aspects to it.
Which kind of leads me into my next point with you too. And I think it's incredible too, watching you throughout the years. And even when before all of this was happening as an influencer and even in any career path, how do you fight the burnout of creating content? And how do you find that motivation? What do you do, or what do you try to do to spark that creativity?
When I feel burnout, the first question I always ask myself is, okay, what am I doing and how have I been doing it that is making me feel burned out? That is something I can't do anymore. So I have to identify that style, that routine, that kind of thing, whatever that one thing is, or multiple things that are burning me out, step away from that and then re-enter it with a different approach. Nothing inspires me more to do my makeup than music. Like, I hear a song and it's weird, but when I hear a song, I can picture the transition. I can picture the attitude. I can picture the makeup look that the song inspires, almost like a little acting-y. And that is so fun that like, I'm like, okay, I haven't done that in a while. That actually feels fun. Yeah. Start with that. So then I'll do that. And so I did 2 of those recently. And then a lot of it is just the allocation of work. So another thing about it is, you know, a lot of the other influencers I meet, no matter how big they are, they're big on one platform, maybe 2. I was very nervous in the beginning about TikTok, so I put so much effort into growing the other 2 platforms. And now I'm big on all 3, on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. I just obviously started the second podcast channel that this is doing very well. So now I was answering my own emails, negotiating my own brand deals, my own contracts, filming content, shorts, makeup shorts for TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, filming comedy shorts for TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, filming long form YouTube videos, editing everything myself, editing the long form myself, booking the guests, scheduling the guests, doing my research, asking the questions, writing the bios, filming the podcast, editing the podcast, scheduling it to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, editing the video podcast, and posting it.
Bus.
Literally.
Shoot me.
Yeah.
Next
Horrible.
place, no sleep.
Yeah. I literally, up until like maybe 2 weeks ago, I'm not kidding, I was working 12-hour days, 7 days a week.
And then at that point too, you're even balancing all of that, which is just work, and then your relationship.
Exactly. I'm getting married in 3 months.
All of that is just your one aspect. And then you're balancing every other part of your life, trying to feel like a human when you shut off the lights, turn off the camera.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I still need to eat dinner and be a person. And it's 2 a.m.
And anywhere I go, any friend I hang out with, any family event I go to, all they want to do is talk about it to me. Because they're excited, which I like, but they ask me questions about it. How was it doing? What was this like? How is this? So when I'm not doing work, people are asking me about work, and it's just very odd. So like I said, I know I needed to bring on help, and it's all a business in a sense, and being very transparent about it. I'm very lucky that I was able to monetize the podcast channel where I don't have any advertisers yet because we're still building it up. So the only money the podcast is making is just YouTube views. That is allowing me to kind of break even, not really even, you know, I'm still paying a little bit to have an editor. So I'm not going to make any money on the podcast for X amount of months, but just breaking even and reinvesting it is getting me my time back, that I'm not spending 2.5 days editing the video podcast. So I can refocus on how to do things to get the joy back in what you're doing. And I think that's with any career you're in or any job you have, you almost have to say to yourself, okay, if this is what the routine I've been in is burning me out and it's not working, you have to figure out a way to either restructure it, your time, the schedule, or if it's more creative or whatever the case is, approach it in a way that feels different. And even for me, just straight up with the comedy videos, I had to take a beat from doing them because writing, I joked around between everything, the Sephora, the Mac skits. I told you I'm getting ready. I'm writing a new part 2 of If Makeup Brands Are People. But that Makeup Brands Are People, you're the only one in my life that right out of the gate, you and Patty Alonso, who's another YouTuber, the only 2 people that immediately said to me, and my followers and subscribers, a lot of you are so sweet to acknowledge, like, oh my God, this probably took so much work. But I'm talking about people in my personal life. You 2 were the only ones to say that had to take you so much time. And it normally wouldn't, but because I was almost fledging out the idea of how I was going to do it,
right,
I filmed 2 or 3 of the 6 characters for that in like the end of August. And the whole span of writing that and figuring out how it was going to happen, doing all the different looks for them because they were all completely done up. My fiance makes fun of me because the scene took place where I was the generic guy hosting the meeting, standing up, and all the characters were sitting at a table on a piece of paper. I wrote out almost like a seating chart where everyone was sat.
So you can look at
that way, the continuity of, let's say at a half circle table, if the elf person was on the left, NARS was on the right, and Anastasia Beverly Hills was in the middle, I knew when I was filming, when I was playing the NARS character, if the Anastasia person was to his left or his right, I was looking the right way. Like, that's the level of detail that goes into these things, let alone the wigs, the makeup, the looks, the whatever. That video took me about 2.5 months. Obviously, now if I did it, I'd probably be able to turn it out.
And then the backhand slap of somebody just going,
yeah. Oh, yeah. They just go past
too
it.
Long.
Yeah, too long. Yeah, no attention span. Those videos did very well. That video, which I'm grateful for. But imagine putting that much work into it and it flopping.
Yeah. And I love, too, that the brands that were playing it up.
Yes.
Urban Decay, props to you. I want to know who runs their social media account because I love a sense of humor. Yeah. And it was great too. And I love that the brands were even feeding into it. The other brands that were like, put us in next time. I'm like,
yes, they were asking me to put them in.
I love it. And I think it's such a great sense of humor too, that you want to be involved.
Yes.
And I love that. But even so, I was even curious when you say that things take you that long, where you're dedicating your 2.5 months or whatever to this whole big project. And then you go to do a beauty reel or whatever, and you're on TikTok or Instagram, whatever, and you're creating this look. Do you feel like you ever have to go back and like reevaluate what the trend is to be relevant? Or do you just do whatever you feel like is right for you?
In the beginning, I did.
Okay.
Because I felt what I was making was indicative of whether it was going to be seen. How it was going to perform was based on what trends, I was sucking, like, but now, especially now more than ever, I feel like the algorithm on TikTok and Instagram is so botched and effed up. But I'm happy at this point. I feel like I've built it up enough where my focus is the people that enjoy what I do, no matter what it is, because they know I'm constructing the content for them. At this point, I'm lucky enough that I can say I post a poll on my YouTube Shorts community tab or my IG stories and say, what videos do you guys want to see? Or what one do you want first? And what they tell me, that's what I film. I don't need to cater to the trends, which I always hate. And yeah.
That's what I feel like I've always liked about your content too, because you're not putting up those polls saying, which one do you want? But you already have that one thing filmed, ready to go, ready to post. And it's like, it could have been an 80-20 split. And you're like, well, this one's going up.
Yeah.
Like,
never
that person.
99% of the time when I post those polls, what I'm asking you, I'm going to film it based on what you want. Yeah. I wish I was that ahead of schedule. I wish I was the person that had both ready. And I was like, which one do you want first? Oh no. I'm like, okay. Like, and then I have to film the whole thing.
But I think that's what comes across more genuine.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like even seeing you, knowing you prior to all of this and seeing you go into this, you're not a different person. You have always been this person where you're not changed. And it's like the one person that said 1 million really changed you.
Hysterical. Yeah. Oh, what was that for?
I forget what that was about?
Oh,
I feel like
it was the clip
so
of
silly.
It was the clip of me and
What was
Robert
it?
Welch talking about Jaclyn Hill.
Was that what it was?
It was me and Robert talking about Jaclyn Hill and pointing out how basically the ridiculousness of influencers clearly overblowing how good something is and then saying, oh, it's in my Amazon storefront. He's not being condescending towards Jaclyn. He's pointing out influencers being dishonest and saying that this is a problem. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and basically, like, I have this brand deal. How can I sneak it in? And it's in my Amazon storefront.
Neither of us then went on to say, Jaclyn is known for this. Like, it had nothing to do with...
You're making a blanket statement of what influencers
do,
and that's just one
instance
example
that just happened that proves our point that was relevant. And anything else Jaclyn has ever done or not done wasn't even a part of the statement.
No, it's not even... Yeah, that's not part of it. The whole reason why, but it's... the 1 million really changed you. I'm like...
What was the comment on the YouTube? One of our podcasts you said you were going to tell me.
Oh my God. That sent me to outer fucking space. Mm-hmm. There was the 2 comments that like, I was just reading them and it's like, okay, whatever. Like, of course I care what people are saying because I'm like, I'm curious. Okay. The first one was that we were really dogging one of the skincare brands. And I was like, I don't remember.
I think I know what you're talking about. And I had even said to the person, if you have something from a celebrity beauty brand that we were like, ugh, I'm very happy for you that it works. That's not our point.
That's not
our point. Is that there is too many beauty brands being started by celebrities who a lot of them have no prior interest, knowledge, education about beauty, and it's watering down the entire industry. That was our point. Yeah. So if you have something from The Outset by Scarlett Johansson and it's changed your life, tell me about it. Yeah. Cool. I'm excited.
Like the other comment that got me. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I had tears in my eyes. She said, what is a Vanessa Hudgens?
That woman, God bless this woman. She was like 60 years old and so inclusive. And it was a positive thing. She goes, I don't know what a Vanessa Hudgens is or who he, she, they, them are. And I don't know what I'm so into voguing right now means, but whatever.
Like, I'm from the original voguing days and I don't know what a Vanessa Hudgens even is.
I was like, God bless you, Angel, because it was the most like real funny thing.
And I could tell she was from like the Club Kid days. And
very much.
She was like, I don't know what this is. And then the he, she, they, them. And she was like, I don't care what it is, but just clear this up for me. What is it? And she was like, educate me.
Yes, I was dying.
I had tears in my eyes and I like couldn't breathe.
It was
amazing. Yeah. And that's the kind of thing too. It's like, you're interested. It's funny. This person has a sense of humor. And it's not like you were coming at her either and she wasn't coming at you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like... Take it with a grain of salt. Like, if you don't like what we're saying about these beauty brands, look inward.
I know.
Like, go touch grass.
It's an opinion.
Go touch grass. Because we have our opinions, you have yours, and that's beautiful. That's the most beautiful part of it, is that you can love this, and it just, like, I haven't tried it. I've never tried anything from the Outset or whatever.
And I just wish we lived in a world that if you and I, 2 gay morons sitting on a couch, say... Ugh, Julia Roberts is coming out with lip liners, and you try the lip liners and they're the best thing you try, don't get mad. Yeah. Comment and say, I actually just tried the lip liners and I love them. And then you know what? Work. I'm going to go out and get the lip liner and try them because you, Kathy, told me to buy them. Yeah. I wish we lived in that world where someone was just like, you know what? I tried it and I get what you're saying. I get that you're joking around that it's too oversaturated, but actually I tried it and I really like it. Why can't we live in that world? Why do we have to be like, my mother's Julia Roberts?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Calm down. Like, are you Julia Roberts, like, nephew?
Yeah. They're like shoulder pads, helmet on, like, what did you say about mother? Yeah. And it's not that serious. And these people that make these brands, they don't know who you are.
Exactly.
They are not concerned with what you think of them. Yes. They have made this brand and they're gonna take and run with it. And if it succeeds or not, it has nothing to do with you.
Exactly.
Defending them on a YouTube channel.
Exactly. Yes. We have to talk about Lady Gaga and the Joker sequel.
Oh my fucking God.
Okay, guys. Part of our friendship is like bonding over being... Listen, the 2 of us...
Wait.
I have a Lady Gaga on my sleeve. Not on my shirt sleeve. A tattoo sleeve is what I meant.
Yes.
I have 2 Gaga tattoos.
Yeah.
Nobody loves her more than us.
No.
We would let her literally spit on our face.
Oh, 100%.
But another part of our friendship is playfully dogging on Gaga's odd decisions and questionable choices.
I have so many, and it's horrible that so many things come to mind, and they're not always her fault directly. I feel like they're not always her fault.
She's a big person. She's a huge star, so she's got a team.
She's got a team. She has a team that some of them should get fired.
Yes,
for God, some of those choices, the makeup decisions, and some of the stunts that she is going into. But speaking on the Joker, for anybody watching the YouTube podcast, I need to pull up this photo that I pulled up to Johnny
to die for.
That
I'll insert it. You guys, you have to watch the video podcast. This photo of her, we're looking at each other dying. I still feel like she gives me the vibe like that she thinks she has something to prove, where she like over sings. It's like too much sometimes. Like, there's levels. Like, give us the levels. Even when she does live performances where she like takes the mic away and she's like blowing a vocal cord, trying to prove that she can sing without a mic, like Ethel Merman. Girl, we know you don't need to do that stuff anymore.
And I feel like that's where the direction that we're heading in with Joker 2, of her standing on the stairs, it is like art pop mentally now coming visually.
Yes. I almost sent you a video, someone on TikTok or Instagram I came across, and it was like Lady Gaga like shutting down New York City with her voice. These people had to be 400 feet away from wherever it was filming, and reverbing off the clouds, you could hear Gaga just, no! Like fucking booming. And I'm dying because I'm like, this woman, she probably didn't even have a mic. She was literally singing loud enough to illuminate the entire New York City, like all of the Bronx. And I just was cracking up thinking about what we're always saying. So this movie is going to be so campy and so...
What I fear too is that it's, when they said this was going to be a musical and whatever, I was like, please stop. Where I thought A Star Was Born was going, which that was a pleasant surprise. I will say.
Phenomenal.
Because when I saw her at that gas station with that brown hair, I said, oh, she's Oscar baiting.
The red wig with the green outfit, the leprechaun. You sent that to me when they were filming and we were like, what was this? She looked like a leprechaun.
Yeah.
And
I just, and
you were
that's
nervous.
The thing. And it's this whole thing of like the movie of A Star Is Born, when she was like talking about her nose and she goes, yeah, I was never told I was going to make it big because of my nose. Well, that's like real life. That people would literally say these things to her, be like, you'll never be the blonde. And here she is with bright orange hair.
I know.
You know, she brings that realness into her, like from her real life into these movies, but these clips from the Joker
to die for. It's just so on brand.
It's
unhinged.
But like you said it perfectly. She is that starving theater kid.
Theater kid. Just oh my God. If any of you are theater kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that
you
person
want that raw, like
that like stays in character backstage. Just too much.
You heard about House of Gucci though, right?
Yes.
That when they stopped filming, she
would go to IHOP and still have the Italian accent.
And she was like,
oh my God.
Like the whole of never breaking. And that's why even when she was at, what was the award show she was just at? Wearing that black dress, the Versace dress. What was it? Oh my God.
The Oscars?
Was it the Oscars? Well, like she looked so
beautiful. Yeah.
So stunning, but you could tell she lost all that weight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is obviously for the movie, but even so, like, did you notice even during Chromatica Ball that there was that one instance where it broke and she had that like cynical kind of laugh in between that end of an act? And I was like, and somebody was like, here comes Joker too. Like she's already, like, you know, there's going to be, if there was a documentary, she's like, oh, here she is getting into character a year before they even started filming.
I know. And I'm so happy. I didn't realize that it just wrapped filming, but it's not coming out until fall of 2020. It just wrapped. And it's not coming out until fall of 2024. And I'm happy about that because there is nothing more consuming than a Gaga movie press tour. She's unhinged. Especially with this, when she does all the interviews and whatever, and she is laying it on like she is part of a William Shakespeare company of intense acting method insanity.
We're about to get art pop interviews again. Do you remember she was just like sitting there, blank face, dark hair, bleached brows, just staring into the abyss. And I'm like,
and especially because it's Joker 2, where it's all about like mental health and whatever. And she had to probably go to dark places to film it. these interviews, she is going to be like, if she's going to like show up with an eye patch or something, like just weird, just weirdness, like
a white handlebar mustache.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Like,
yeah.
So, and we love her for it.
I do. No, and that's, and I remember talking about
she
even
is the definition of
House Labs. You're like, this is why it's your favorite beauty brand. And it's, I love her to death. And it's just like, it's like watching a sibling or someone you love do things and you're like, I love you so much. Yeah. I just need you to understand that
she's a theater kid.
It is. Oh my God.
I am very excited. Yeah. And she's not going to stop until she wins an acting Oscar. So
she didn't win an Oscar already?
She won Best Original Song for Shallow, but she lost the acting Oscar to Olivia Colman for The Favorite for Star is Born. So she hasn't won an acting Oscar. She has the Best Original Song Oscar for Shallow and the Golden Globe acting for American Horror Story.
I'll ask you this now. Do you think she's going to get one for this movie?
I wonder, because I think if Joaquin Phoenix didn't win the Oscar for The Joker, which he did, if he didn't, and it didn't have the Oscar esteem it did the first time, I don't think she would get nominated. Because if this was its standalone thing, I think like House of Gucci, she didn't get an Oscar nomination. Right. I think the Academy, after Star is Born, they're going to try to kind of make her work harder for it, because Star is Born was her debut vehicle kind of a thing. So I think they thought she was going to have her Cher and Moonstruck moment. And Cher obviously did one or two things before that, like Gaga, but it was her big thing. And Cher won for Moonstruck. Gaga didn't win. I think now that she didn't win, the Oscars are going to go, they know people are kind of exhausted of the Gaga campaigning for an Oscar narrative. So 99 people in a room. So they don't almost want to give it to her so easily. So they didn't with House of Gucci. So I don't think they would for Joker. And especially because Joker is like an Oscar baity movie like no one's business. It has Oscar bait written all over it.
It does.
Depressed people smearing makeup on their face, crying in the thing.
And we're going to get that original song from her too. Like Hold My Hand for Top Gun.
Okay.
We're going to get
I have a theory though. I'm curious.
Ooh, okay.
If she really wants this acting Oscar, I hope she doesn't have anything to do with the music. Because she needs to realize, as long as she has an acting Oscar nomination, the same year she has a song nomination, she will never win the acting, because you have to realize people will split the vote. If they're voting and Gaga's nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Song and acting, they're going to go, oh, well, let's give Gaga the song and I'll vote for someone else for acting. Well, that's exactly what happened with Star is Born.
That's what I almost liked about American Horror Story too, is that she was in this. There was nothing to do with her music career in that show. I really love seeing her in like that different character. It was playing this like very unhinged character. That's where I almost think this is like, okay, this could be like the step up from the Countess.
And I think she could kill this.
I think it could be
she's going to be great.
Amazing. And I mean, these photos are unhinged. This might be the moment. If it really has nothing to do with her music career,
I know
this could be like American Horror Story, where she takes it to that next level again, and she's really testing herself. But again, I do think this would be the smarter decision if there was no original song.
Yeah,
it could be this big moment.
Or I hope even if she does have something to do with the music, because honestly, I think it would be a shame if she didn't have something to do with the music, because she's obviously phenomenal. I mean, look at the music from A Star. She's an unbelievable songwriter and musician. Maybe the strategy would be having something to do with the music, but not submitting herself for it. Like, let's say it's her and two other writers. I would say, listen, I don't want to be submitted for the Oscar. You two just submit for the Oscar nomination. You guys get it. And she should just go for the acting. Because as long as she has both, she's never going to get the acting. She has to only be nominated. Because people are going to split it. They're going to say, we're not going to give her two things. We can vote for her for song and we'll give the acting to somebody else. Because I think that's what happened with the Star is Born year, because that was supposed to be Glenn Close's year, because Glenn Close has been nominated for like 8 Oscars and never won, which is shocking. So it was supposed to be Glenn Close's year. She won everything up until that point, and everyone was expecting her to win. And it was a very shocking thing that Olivia Colman won. But I don't think people realized that all the people that were going to vote for Gaga and Glenn Close, all the people that voted for Gaga, they voted for her for Best Original Song. And then all those Gaga acting voters voted for either Glenn Close, but they didn't anticipate they all went for Olivia Colman. And it was this whole new dynamic that Olivia Colman ended up squeaking it out. And because the people that would have voted Gaga for the acting, they all said, let's give her the song. And you had all these people that were new voters, and it went to Olivia Colman. So it's going to be very interesting how it shakes out if she's in the music and the acting thing all over again.
Well, when this comes out, we have to go see it.
Of course.
We'll be there like opening night.
I know.
I need to go see this. And I can't wait. I really am. As much as I am nervous, I'm very excited. I was nervous for House of Gucci. I was nervous for, A Star is Born, whatever. But I am so excited to see where she goes and where she takes this. Because she is getting into it. Listen, she's dedicated. So I'm excited.
We love that wacky bitch.
Yeah, love her.
That is it for today's episode, guys. Thank you for listening to another episode of Beautiful and Bothered with me and Kevin.
All right, this was so much fun. Thank you again for having me.
I know.
So much fun.
I love having Kevin on. Let us know anything else you want us to talk about in the comments down below, because we have episodes planned, but honestly, we love shooting the shit, and ask us, like the Gaga conversation, any other pop culture topics you want us to dish on, because, oh my God, we love talking shit.
I love it.
Make sure to subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave us a little 5-star review. Also, make sure to subscribe to the official Beautiful and Bothered YouTube channel for weekly video episodes. Wherever you guys are, I hope you are happy, safe, and healthy. And remember, you are beautiful. Bye, guys.
Bye.